And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
Turn on the tube, where I see a whole lot of people crying, don't blame me. They point the crooked little fingers at everybody else. Spend all the time feeling sorry for themselves. Victim of this, victim of that. Your mama's too thin and your daddy too fat. Get over it.
Yeah, get over it. Understand what responsibility you have. And I tell you what it is. Did you understand what the heck was going on? Did you do a little research on just economics? You know, who's been screaming for decades that this whole thing was all a facade, a charade, pretend economy? Well, now we're getting to find out. All of a sudden, just in the last decade, what's the percentage of increase? I remember when, silver, I started buying silver, God, man, it was like $3 and something. I'm going, ooh, just little bits, and I really started getting serious when it started, breaking 10. I'm going, yeah, I know where this is going. And this is it. Ooh, man, did you protect yourself? Well, from whom? Well, we got Martin Andelman on, and he's going to help us understand this a little bit, because my thing is, they always target when things went bad in the news. That's not when things go bad. They don't report the news. They just spin the olds. They're just trying to, see this bad thing that happened? Let me tell you what happened. We're going to blame, I don't know, whoever the heck they're going to try and blame. I tell you, this happened because they took all the money that you accumulated in buckets of money out there in retirements and, socially and economically engineered you out of your money to put in this IRA, 401k, pension fund, day law, whatever the heck it was. And you got, the tax benefit for your employer to match and put and all this other stuff to convince you. Oh, and if you take it out, you're going to get tax penalty and all this kind of what we screaming. Get it out. Get out of the U.S. dollar. Take it, put it in the precious metal, put it in something, anything. It's just going to go away. Don't keep it with them. Them, they, them, those. Those that won't leave us alone, want to take our money. Well, what happened was, to be able to do that, to have somebody that's managing your money, to be able to do that by law, especially when you have pension funds and municipal bond and all these different function retirements of teachers and judges and judges. Yeah, they want to get this cleared up as they have their pension. That's another issue. But you sit there and you go, if I'm going to be able to get that money, I'm Goldman Sachs. I got to get them to give it to me. And I'll get my big cut, and we'll do all kinds of funky stuff with it. We'll get into it. But how they do that is somebody had to make it legal. Well, the law says it's got to be AAA, or you're not allowed to do it. Give me a AAA rating, some green fees, and some escorts. I'm all over it. And they go, yep, we'll be right back. Where did they go, Martin? Where did they go to get this kind of They needed to have it to be legal, the ratings. How did that process happen?
All right, no problem. It's called securitization. It's our whole country changed over securitization. It's how you turn lead into gold. It works like this. You go out, first thing you have to understand is that historically, the percentage of homes that go into foreclosure is like 1.2, 1.4%. Very small percentage. Most of the time, people pay for their house. And if they can't pay for their house, they sell it. Most of the time, that's what happens. A very small, tiny percentage go into foreclosure, okay? So they go out and they make 1,000 loans. And they take the loans and they put them in a pool, one big pool of 1,000 loans. And then they can slice up and sell slices of that pool. So investors can buy just a slice of that, which is what you hear. They use the word tranches. That's part of the problem with all this. I just wanted to say that they use words that nobody knows what the hell they mean, so it's hard to keep track of. But tranches, like what would you do? Get those at brunch? Did you try the tranches? Get the sauce.
Well, the one thing before you go further, I want to make this clear so people understand. When they carved this up and sold, they carved it up and said, well, these are the ones that have the risk of fill in the blank as a tranche, a group of mortgages, but they didn't really assign individual mortgages to them until they were late on their payments.
Right.
I mean, it was like I was buying an empty suitcase, and they put what they wanted in the suitcase later.
Right.
I mean, that had to be illegal.
Well, of course. But, this is how they do it, okay? Let's say you have this big pool of 1,000 loans. Those are all payments, right? All these payment streams are coming in on all those mortgages. Now, let's say you took a set of dresser drawers, 3 drawers. There's like you have in your bedroom, right? There's a top drawer, a middle drawer, and a bottom drawer. And then you got a lawyer, and he writes up a contract, and it says all the payments that are coming in on all those mortgages, we're going to pour them into this set of dresser drawers here in through the top. They're always going to get poured in through the top, and we're going to say in the contract the top drawer has to fill up completely before the middle drawer gets a nickel. And then the middle drawer has to fill up completely until the bottom drawer gets a nickel. So the top drawer, let's say the top drawer is 50% of the whole thing. Well, remember, only 1.2% of loans ever get foreclosed on. So, for sure 50% of these people are going to pay, right? No question about it. So the top drawer gets rated AAA because you slice that one up and you go, well, that's for sure half the people are going to pay. So you got to remember there's two kinds of credit scores here. There's the kind of credit score you and I have, a FICO score, and then there's the credit rating on a bond, AAA, AA, whatever. So they pour these payments in through the top. The top dresser drawer fills up first. That's AAA. The middle drawer fills up next. That's BBB. And the bottom drawer, well, we don't know how much the bottom drawer is going to get. So that's unrated. We don't rate that.
Okay, now this is, you gave a good example, and I'm going to rip you off in the future and give that example because This is one thing that happens. Normally, they would take and they would do a credit rating on the individuals, the payment record of the homes, how secure is this particular mortgage or these group of mortgages that's in the top drawer, all right?
Right.
So I'm buying a good credit rating of the people in the top drawer. No, heck no. They just take all of these. Let's say you got 900 mortgages. You have 300 in the top, 300 in the middle, and 300 in the bottom. Yep. They pour the money. All the money starts coming and it goes down. You bought the first round of money in the top drawer, but you didn't buy the actual mortgages because when somebody was late in that top drawer, they got moved to the second or the third drawer.
Exactly.
And that was that legal?
Yeah, that's legal. That's securitization.
Okay, so that's what they did. They're saying, so you're not, a lot of people didn't understand this. They're going, hey, I'm buying, I'm with the good people up here. Well, yeah, as long as they keep making the payments, you're all good up here. If you bought down at the bottom, the money may not make it down there because all the people that aren't paying are these guys in the third bottom drawer. Well, when people stop making their mortgage payments, if you held these subprimes and you had probably a better interest rate, I would imagine, and a lot of these, different pension funds, I have no idea how they did this, but I'm telling you, all of a sudden, the bottom drawer wasn't getting any money. Then the second drawer probably wasn't getting a whole lot of money either.
Well, no, let me tell you what happened here, okay? So let's say you and I work at Goldman Sachs, right? Uh-huh. We go out, we get 1,000 loans, and we do this. We get a set of dresser drawers. We get the lawyer. We say, draw up the paperwork. Now, remember what I said at the beginning. 1 or 2% of homes foreclose historically, right?
Historically, but they weren't even looking at any of what made this mortgage backed. Backed by what? One, the mortgage was not transferred to ownership with the county recorders and so on. They didn't even look at that.
Well, yeah.
They weren't looking at the credit rating of the individuals doing the ninja loans things. They weren't looking at that, so where's the value? It's because historically, and this is what I get from people that I talk to in the industry, they go, well, the record was, I go, is that it? Is that all you go on? I set you up over decades, and then I just rape you? Well, that's what happened. These guys weren't looking at anything of real value. Like if it was my money and I'm borrowing, lending it to someone, I'm looking at, okay, well, what's your capacity to repay? They were just looking at history of when they used to be good loans.
Right, but you got to it's like it's not the borrowers. See, what happened here is this: we took our dresser drawers over to Moody's and we said we'd like a credit rating on these dresser drawers. And they looked at it and they said, well, since only 2% of loans historically go into foreclosure, that top drawer could be 75% of the loans because that would leave 25% down here because only 2% are going to foreclose. So the top drawer, 75% of this stuff gets AAA. The middle drawer might be another 20% and the bottom drawer 5%, right? So now you've got all these AAA bonds you can go sell. Sell them all over town, sell them to all the pension plans, sell them everywhere. But what happens is you got a bunch of bottom drawers left over.
Okay, we'll go ahead and finish it up when we come back. They're going to push the button on us, but I'm telling you, it was not based on any fundamental economics. It was just because that's how it's always been. Well, this is what happened.